immigration. Can Donald Trump give you a green? Hey guys, before you file for your spouse, hey guys, come on in, type in freedom now. Today is Monday, July 14th, and we have a very exciting show. We're going to cover the latest immigration news in addition to answering some questions and sharing your good news stories. Come on in and say hello and tell me where you're joining from. Type in freedom now as you're coming on board. If you're watching on Facebook, as usual, share this live session with your feed. I'm so excited to be with you guys. I hope you had a terrific weekend. It's good to see you. Freedom now, freedom now. Hello, hello. And guys, just some ground rules. As you know, on today's show, we're here to educate and inform and to lift you up, so to speak. And so we're asking that if you're going to spam, you'll need to understand actually that if you spam, you'll be placed in timeout. We're asking for respectful comments here as people share their problems, their questions, and their stories and frustrations. We ask that you do not troll them, do not attack each other. All right, I do have a moderator today, and so please keep it above board. Type in freedom now and let me know where you're joining from. I'm Latoya McBean Pompey, an immigration lawyer in New York, working with clients nationwide at McBean Law. Our contact information is on the screen. Contact us at 914-898-9488, or you can email us. Email us at info@mcbeanlaw.com. Follow us certainly on social media at McBean Immigration Law on TikTok, on Instagram, and LinkedIn as well. Thank you guys. So now, friends, we're going to go right into our news because there's so much that I'd love to cover with you this afternoon. Okay, so the first issue is this: worker shortages, okay? Nursing homes, guys, nursing homes are struggling to keep their staff, to keep people employed because of the crackdown that they're facing. They're facing severe staffing shortage at certain nursing homes across the country, which is certainly being impacted by the revocation of legal statuses like TPS and humanitarian parole. Foreign-born workers make up over 25% of the caregiving workforce, and yet their legal immigration pathways are drying up as millions of people are losing their status due to the rollback of TPS and the rollback of various parole statuses that they had obtained. Employers are receiving less than 24 hours notice when workers lose their authorization, which virtually cripples operations overnight for some employers. And these positions are going unfilled because Americans are not applying despite wage increases in hiring incentives. And immigration, friends, as you guys know, is key to elder care. Key to elder care. And the U.S. is aging rapidly. And unfortunately, fortunately, you guys know that immigration has long filled the gap in the healthcare industry, but the Trump era policies and backlogs are slamming that door shut, and the pipeline is drying up. Some leaders in the healthcare industry, particularly nursing home leaders, are saying the pipeline is drying up and workers and families are living in fear. And you guys might have also seen videos or read in the news that even construction workers in places like Los Angeles some of them are not showing up to work to continue the rebuilding project in Los Angeles. Why not? Because they're afraid, they're fearful about showing up and ICE raiding their workplace. Employers are not just losing aides, but dishwashers, servers, and maintenance staff, many of whom are foreign born, and immigration slowdowns are hitting caregiving harder than other industries. Um, and then, friends, with this whole workplace raid issue, employers, if you're an employer watching today, certainly begin a process of training your team, training your workers on knowing how to respond in the event ICE shows up and tries to arrest an individual. It could be someone who you're serving, or it could very well be one of your colleagues. There are ways that you could protect yourself. These days at McBean Law, we've been meeting with employers and writing protocols and policies for them, and helping them with training their team on how to respond, what they can and cannot do, legally speaking, if ICE shows up at your work site. So certainly reach out to us if you'd like more guidance on how to protect your business. Secondly, friends, you guys might have seen you might have seen the Truth Social post that President Trump put out there about ICE needing to do whatever is necessary, any means necessary, to protect itself. And I'm going to pull up the Truth Social post here because this was from 2 days ago. And in it, he says, I'm on my way back from Texas, and I watched in disbelief as thugs were violently throwing rocks and bricks at ICE officers while they were moving down a roadway in their car and or official vehicle. Tremendous damage was done to these brand new vehicles. I know for a fact that these officers are having a hard time with allowing this to happen, and that it shows such total disrespect for law and order. Therefore, and this is what you've got to pay attention to. Therefore, I am directing Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem and Border Czar Tom Homan to instruct all ICE, Homeland Security, or any other law enforcement officer who is on the receiving end of thrown rocks, bricks, or other form of assault to stop their car and arrest these slime balls using whatever means is necessary to do so. I am given total authorization for ICE to protect itself, just like they protect the public. I never want to see a car carrying a law enforcement officer attacked again. Authorization immediately granted for arrest and incarceration. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Okay, so here we have the president saying that ICE needs to use whatever means is necessary to protect itself and to arrest folks. And what else can I say there, right? Whatever means is necessary. You guys see the military gear set up that these officers, or we don't even know who some of these individuals are behind their mask. It's very intimidating. They're in a military gear, and they're on the streets, and they're racially profiling folks. In California specifically, a federal judge just recently issued an order saying that ICE needs to stop the racial profiling of brown people, of people who speak Spanish or have an accent, or who would spend time at a place that is traditionally frequented by immigrants, like car washes and those places. They've just got to stop that racial profiling. It's unconstitutional. And also, she issued an order saying that ICE should not stop immigration lawyers from getting into the detention centers to visit their clients. They need to be able to go in to the detention center and speak with their clients, communicate with them so that their rights are asserted. So that's a judge's order on Friday in California related to the crackdown that we're seeing there. So with respect to the raids in California, guys, you're seeing this all over social media. Federal agents used tear gas and crowd control tactics during 2 immigration raids at licensed cannabis farms in California. A farm worker sadly died after falling from a roof during one raid, prompting widespread criticism from California's governor and human rights groups. DHS, in response to that, said we weren't even targeting that individual who died, who fell from the roof. He wasn't even the focus of their attention that day. Despite DHS guidance advising against worksite raids in non-criminal cases, ICE continues to target agricultural workers, guys, increasing fear in immigrant communities. The Trump's directive, of course, is, it threatens the First Amendment right to peacefully protest, as demonstrators could now face arrest or force for opposing ICE actions. And you've heard, I just read, him call them thugs and slime balls, and use very inflammatory language. Now, under Trump's spending bill, as we've been talking about, ICE's annual budget will grow from $8 billion to $28 billion, making it the highest funded law enforcement agency in our country. And this plan includes hiring 10,000 new ICE agents, dramatically increasing or expanding their reach and the frequency of enforcement. Although some people, I'm one of them, will make an argument that recruitment will be a bit of a challenge to be able to find these. Of course, there are folks out there with some law enforcement background who are ready, willing, and able to take on a job as an ICE agent, but recruitment typically is very slow and difficult with law enforcement. But, obviously they're going to put a lot of force and money behind the recruitment effort. And so we're continuing to watch how things are being played out in California. Thirdly, guys, ICE may deport migrants to countries other than their own with just 6 hours notice. Can you imagine? 6 hours notice. You're detained by ICE, and you're thinking, okay, at least I'll have a moment, right, to speak with a lawyer about what's going on here. You would think that my wife or my husband or my daughter is contacting an immigration lawyer to advocate on my behalf. And before you know it, within hours, you're being deported to another country, a country that you didn't even select, and that country that you don't even know. 6 hours notice, guys, is what they are saying that they would provide to individuals who are detained before sending them off to a third country. Under the new ICE memo, migrants may be deported to third countries with as little as 6 hours notice in exigent circumstances. Who determines what the exigent circumstance is, but 6 hours notice. The standard notice period is now 24 hours, down from previous policies offering more time for preparation and legal coordination. ICE must allow access to an attorney, but no additional screening is required if the receiving third country promises not to persecute or torture the individual. And this would be in writing. We promise we're not going to torture them. We promise we're not going to maybe detain them. We promise we'll give them an immigration status when they come here. And then when you ask the border czar, do you know what's going on with those men in South Sudan right now? Are they detained? Are they incarcerated? I don't know. I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know. I don't know. Did you guys see that interview in which he said, I don't know. I don't know if they're detained, right? He's not keeping tabs on them once they leave the United States. Critics argue this fails to provide adequate due process or protection against wrongful deportation. Migrants can now be deported to countries they have no connection to, do not speak the language of, or where they face potential danger or human rights abuses. And the men in South Sudan, are they still in South Sudan? Borders are, I don't know. I don't know where they are. These men are from countries like Cuba, Mexico, Vietnam, and Laos. And so now this aggressive expansion of deportation powers will allow for the government and through, support of the U.S. Supreme Court, who that ruled, in favor of the Trump administration on the side of these third country deportations. They're going to try to send more people to these countries. Nigeria, from what I understand, we were approached Nigeria to take on some of these migrants, and Nigeria said, no, we have our own problems. 230 million people is enough. So certain African countries, from what I understand, have been saying no to the offer that we've been sending them. But other countries, the U.S. has recently pressed African nations like Liberia, Gabon, and Mauritania to accept deportees from unrelated countries. I don't know if they've agreed to it or not, but I do know that some countries have already said no to that idea. Whew, that's a mouthful. Okay. The last story that I'm going to share today, I'll try to break down more news over the next few days. The last story, guys, has to do with Chris Landry. Chris Landry, a green card holder who is stuck in Canada. From what I understand, I don't think he has he's gained entry yet, but Chris Landry, guys, is a Canadian national and green card holder since 1981. He was denied entry into the U.S. at the Maine Canada border on July 6th when he was coming back to the United States with his children from vacation. He has lived in New Hampshire for over 40 years, works in manufacturing, and is the father of 5 American children. Why was he denied entry, which was wrong, by the way? He needs an immigration attorney to get him here. He apparently, from what I understand, he contacted his congressman's office, but he needs an immigration lawyer. Apparently, he was held for 5 hours and told he could not return due to 2 offenses: a 2004 marijuana possession conviction, from what I understand, and a 2007 charge for driving with a suspended license. He received no jail time. He has, over the years, he's kept a cleaner record, no new violations since then. And I do have a clip here of his interview. By the way, he is a Trump supporter. He supported he's a supporter, and so now he's disappointed that he's the one out there denied entry to the United States. And so a lot of people are saying, ha ha, that's not what we're saying here. I'm not saying ha ha, but I do want to mention to you, you'll hear it from his own mouth. He supported President Trump.
Bright future for my 5 American children. But now I feel a little differently.
Chris Landry has lived in New Hampshire since he was 3 years old. He has a partner, 5 children, and a job in manufacturing. He was stopped at the border in Holton, Maine on Sunday while returning from a family vacation to Canada. Landry says he goes to Canada at least once a year and has never had a problem until now.
Why do you think this time it's a problem?
Because of the new administration and their new policies.
In 2004 and 2007, Landry faced charges of marijuana possession and driving with a suspended license, but says he's had no criminal record since. He was given a suspended sentence and paid his fines.
So I never thought that would threaten my status as a resident of the United States.
You heard that from his own mouth. He never thought it would have threatened his status in the United States. Now, green card holder. He was just a green card holder who didn't think that it could ever touch him. Immigration could touch him, and he has a criminal record, and it has touched him. And guys, last week, Customs CBP tweeted on X that if you're a green card holder, and I shared on this, if you're a green card holder and you have a criminal conviction, they may detain you at the airport, period. We have no idea how they're going to make the decision or determination who to detain versus who to release, or who to just say, okay, we're going to place you in removal proceedings. No, it was just a very short tweet, which I don't have here in front of me, that said, if you are convicted, green card holder, of a crime here in the United States, we may detain you. And so here you have Chris Landry, who who had no problems for years traveling and leaving the United States. He now has a big problem. And this case, guys, signals increased risk for millions of green card holders with minor or old infractions. Immigrants, even long settled ones, now face a less predictable, more aggressive immigration system, regardless of family ties or contributions. Chris should be here today. If he needs a lawyer to ensure that he could come in, he should be able to come in. But this is where things are right now, guys. So with that being said, we're going to go right into some Q&As. All right, let's go. Q&As. Let's see what questions you have for me. Today, I'm going to scroll through here. Thank you, guys, for also sharing your good news stories. I see some good news in the chat. We're going to pull up some good news at the very end to lift you up, okay? Self-deport. Why should you wait to get locked up? Okay, so self-deportation is your right to do. Anyone has the right to leave the United States if they choose to do so, but leave knowingly. Leave knowing what your immigration status is and how potentially you could return to the United States if you ever decide to change your mind and you'd like to come back to the US. Get all of the information before you leave. Also, I have a video out there on McBean Immigration TV that tells you additional questions you need to think about before you self-deport. And sometimes people write us from time to time, letting me know, and I read those emails, letting me know that you've made the decision to self-deport. And we're here for you. If down the road you'd like to return to the United States, we would absolutely want to be the ones to work with you on that process. Watch my videos on self-deportation, however, before you leave. Hey there, Edina. Good to see you. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Can someone who is on asylum marry a green card holder? Indira is asking. Indira, by the way, we have one of your success stories to share today on this broadcast, so I'm glad that you're listening. Yes, you can marry whoever you choose to marry if that person, you've applied for asylum and you've applied for asylum. I'm assuming it's pending. I don't know if it's pending and the individual marries a green card holder. They can do that. The green card holder can start the filing for you. And after the filing is approved, we would consider whether the green card holder is now a U.S. citizen to help transition you to adjustment of status. Freedom now, guys. Let's type in freedom now. Get the energy level up. Get it up. Let's see, let's go down a little bit. Can you talk about the DV lottery benefits for winners? Well, there's only one real benefit, and it's the green card, right? So DV winners, those of you who have already been interviewed for this fiscal year's win-ins, you should be fine with going through your embassy process. If you're part of a travel ban country, and you've already been interviewed, you'll be fine coming into the United States. The ones who are most affected, unfortunately, in a travel ban country are those who have yet to be interviewed for the immigrant visa. But the big benefit, of course, is a green card. Thank you. Let's keep going. Freedom now. Let's go down here. Let's go down to some questions. Thank you guys for being here today. Consular process. Ismail is asking, is there a way to adjust without leaving the country? No legal entry. So if an individual came to the United States without legal entry, then for most people, they will have to consular process, which means they'll have to continue or finish their process abroad at the U.S. Embassy in their home country. Because in order to adjust your status, you'll need to prove to the government that you have landing papers. How did you come to the United States? Were you approved? Were you inspected? Were you paroled in? How? They want that, the paperwork. And so if you're unable to prove that, well, the other way of getting it is through a humanitarian process. A humanitarian process, as a victim. Certain types of victims are able to get their green card here. Other individuals apply for asylum and they're successful. Other folks have a family member who's in the military and they're able to get a parole in place that allows them to adjust their status. So it truly all depends. And then for other people, they might be eligible under the grandfather clause, Section 245I, which is an amnesty that allows them to get a green card here. Okay. So for some people, they're able to get their green card that way. All right. Freedom now, guys. Freedom now. Freedom now. See comments. Let's go down a little bit to some immigration questions. Someone says, I have a 10-year green card with no criminal record. Is it okay to travel? Yes. Yes. If you have a criminal record, that's the key takeaway here. If you have a criminal record as a green card holder, and I told someone this today during a consultation, okay, no, I don't recommend traveling as a green card holder with a criminal conviction because of customs statement last week, which made it very clear that they're looking and to detain people who they choose. They might let you go, no problems. You might not face any problem if you have a conviction on your record, but but other people will face a problem. We talked about Chris Landry earlier, and the fact that he was even denied entry, which is absurd, and he needs a lawyer to help fight his case. Let's see. Thank you. Can I lose my LPR status if I fly outside of the United States? If I was once inadmissible for overstaying my student visa, I don't have any criminal record though. No, you won't be able, you won't lose your status if you are a green card holder and you take a trip outside of the United States. Yes, you were once inadmissible. Most people were once inadmissible before they became green card holders. And so you have nothing to worry about, okay? You have nothing to worry about. Let's see. Let's go down a little bit. And as we're meeting today through this live session, drop us your success stories. If you've been approved of a work permit, a green card, asylum, a visa, if something good has happened to you or someone who you know, please share the story in the comments section. We'd love to be able to celebrate with you, okay? Immigration is still working. And your stories help to show that it is still working. Someone is asking, Ruben says, I have a marriage green card case in the process. While I'm waiting for the work permit and after, can I still be detained indefinitely? So Ruben, because you have a case pending under this administration, it doesn't, typically they're not supposed to go after individuals who have a case pending and you're going through the lawful process to become legal. Most times it doesn't happen in such a manner in which they detain you unless they become aware of a serious criminal record or issue, and in which case they will target you for enforcement activities. Or if you happen to be in a location where where ICE is conducting a raid and you're caught up in that raid, yes, you could be detained, but normally you would be released right away once they learn that you're going through this lawful process to obtain a green card. As far as being detained indefinitely, which is mandatory detention, not everyone is subject to mandatory detention, particularly if you have a clean criminal record. You're not subject to mandatory detention, which means that you would have to stay in detention until an immigration judge resolves your case, your removal case. Most people are not subject to mandatory detention. They will get a bond to be released, okay? Thank you guys for being with me. We're going through some immigration questions today. We covered a lot of news earlier. Go back and watch the replay. Let's see. Let's go down a little bit. By the way, if you break up your question between different texts here, it's going to be hard for me to make the connection. So keep your question short, concise, so that I could read it in one text. Thank you. All right, Freedom Now, Freedom Now. Let's go down. Okay, here's a question about a marriage-based green card. Had a marriage-based green card interview for 3 months in Minnesota. It started separate and took 3 hours in total. Any idea why they didn't decide yet? So here's an individual, Visa, who interviewed, I'm assuming more than 3 months ago in Minnesota, and the interviewing officer separated him and his spouse, and they were each questioned and most likely brought back together. And it took 3 hours. That's a long interview. And it's similar to a Stokes style interview that sometimes that does happen. And even before Trump came back, we worked on a lot of cases in which this very thing happened here. They're looking into some fact or they're investigating something. Whatever they're investigating, it's most likely connected with the bona fide nature of the marriage. And if you've had a previous filing, they're looking into some things. Maybe there are some inconsistencies that came up during your interview or before your interview. You can contact us if you choose to go a little deeper with you to learn about the types of questions and that they asked you and whether you have an immigration history for us to review. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Type in Freedom Now and also drop your good news stories and testimonials. How much is the immigration fee for I-130, I-765, I-45 adjustment of status, please? So to learn what the fees are that USCIS charges, just go on uscis.gov website, and they have a great tool that tells you how much, what their fees are. I'm not sure if you're asking about that or attorney fees. I never share attorney fees in a public forum such as this one. It happens during a consultation. Let's see. Let's go down here. Is it best to get a ruling on an asylum case before getting married to a U.S. citizen or a green card holder? The timeline of getting married, that's yours to decide how it would impact your case. My perspective is this, that if you're in a genuine bona fide marriage and you don't have a green card, well, you go for it. You go for it and you work on a marriage-based case so that you could get your green card. Asylum is, I shared with you guys last week on Facebook and Instagram, I believe, that asylum applications between the years 2015 and 2017 apparently are being called in now by USCIS for interviews. So you guys need to begin working on your case, refresh your memory about those details, gather your evidence, hire a lawyer to gear up and strengthen your case, your claim, because they're calling people back in. They're moving a bit faster with asylum cases now, these affirmative filings. Why? Because nothing's happening at the U.S. borders. These folks who were there at the borders interviewing folks coming in, they don't need to be there anymore because it's like crickets at the border. So now they're back in the office and they're reviewing cases. So things are moving faster. You guys need to also gear up for your interview, prepare yourself for it, and prepare your case. So go for the marriage case if you're able to have a marriage case filed. Can I apply for citizenship while I'm on a payment plan with the IRS? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Guys, drop your good news story. Drop it below. We would love to celebrate with you. Drop your good news story so that I could pull it up. Thank you, guys. Let's see. Keep going. I won't be doing any math on this show as far as naturalization is concerned and your presence in the US and all of that. I won't do the math. I don't have any news about TPS for Nepal. As you can see, TPS is going away for many countries. I haven't heard anything about Nepal. Freedom now, guys. Someone says, can you file for citizenship or need to renew your green card? To do so, you have a 10-year green card. You could file for your citizenship, and there's an extension, automatic extension on your green card if you meet various conditions. Freedom now. Can you talk about the EB2 visa while in the United States? Wendy is asking. Sure. So the EB2, there are a couple of ways of going about it. One could be employer sponsored. The other could be on your own through the national interest waiver. And an individual, in order to get the EB2 here, whether it's through an employer or on your own, to get it here, you'd have to continuously keep a lawful status from the time that you enter the United States all the way up until the time they've approved your green card. And so the challenge for many people seeking who might be qualified otherwise for the EB2 is they broke status. They went out of status. They might have entered on the F1 visa or even H1B, and at some point they went out of status. They didn't transition to like an O visa or something else, and they ran out of time. And so for that reason, the NIW adjustment of status process or EB2 adjustment of status process wouldn't work. In order for it to work, in order for them to get the green card, ultimately in this situation, they will need a waiver. And once the waiver is approved, they have to finish their process back home, back in their country at a U.S. embassy. So that the challenge for individuals in this situation is, although the EB2 process is fast, much faster than like a family-based petition process, if they do not have a parent or a spouse who is a U.S. citizen or a green card holder, they will not be able to qualify for the waiver. So, but if you do have a parent who is a U.S. citizen or a green card holder, or even a spouse, obviously, then you can start the process, do the waiver, and then leave for the embassy, and it can work out for you, and it is a much shorter pathway to a green card. We do employment-based work here at McBean Law, guys. We do all of the green card processes. We also do various visas for professionals, skilled workers, people who are entrepreneurs, people who are successful, people who have a professional degree, the E2 visa. We do all of those processes. So do not forget that you might have a process available to you on the employment side of things for some people. Okay. Let's go down a little bit. Go down, Freedom Now. I canceled my ticket because I was afraid to travel. I have no criminal record, and I came to this country on a visa. What is your status today? Are you a green card holder? If you're a green card holder, you can travel, provided that you don't have a criminal conviction and you're not in removal proceedings. Go down a little bit here. Type in Freedom Now and your good news stories. Are work permit holders undocumented? I really want to know. So when I use the word undocumented, this is my definition. Everybody has their own. When I use that word, I'm just thinking about whether you have permanent lawful status in the United States or not. That's it. And so if you have only a work permit that allows you to work, and that work permit is connected to maybe a status like maybe DACA or maybe TPS or maybe a pending asylum application or pending green card application through a spouse or another relative, well, you're not you don't have that permanent status quite yet. So in my view, I just keep it simple in my view and say undocumented. Some people use other words like illegal. Some you say non-citizens. It's just semantics, but that's what it means to me, not having lawful permanent status in the United States. Okay, let's go down. Thank you for asking that question. What are some of the ways that a green card holder can check if they have a criminal record? How do you know if you have a criminal record? Well, I would start with this. Have you ever interacted with the law? Have you ever been arrested? Have you, you know, you you should know. Okay, to me that's a no-brainer. To me that's a no-brainer. You should know if you've ever been arrested or charged with anything. You should know. You could also run a background check on yourself. You could go get an FBI background report. You could get it same day in some instances or the next day emailed to you. That's another way. If you're thinking, well, I did something and I think I got away with it, but I'm not sure, I'm not certain. Well, that's a whole different ballgame. But most people would know if they have a criminal record or not. You know your life and your journeys. Thank you. Can I expedite my VAWA case? I'm a business owner. I'm suffering loss. I've been asked this question before in the past. I think in a consultation. I'm not sure. My perspective. I don't know what VAWA lawyers say. About something like this, but what I say is that you have a work permit that is allowing you to work. The government gives you a work permit so that you don't face financial hardships while you're waiting on them to make a decision on your humanitarian application. So, that's really. And you also are able to get a social security card during this process. So I've never, in our practice, to my knowledge, I don't think any of the attorneys around here, I'm not sure, have used business loss as a way to show hardship related to a long pending VAWA case. VAWA typically takes 3 years to process. It typically takes 3 years to process. Let's go back over here. Let's keep going with a few more questions before we transition. Okay, let's go down a little bit. Let's go down. Thank you, guys. It's starting to rain here, which is great for the garden. Not so great on the mosquito side of things, though, but it's great for the garden. Let's go down. Freedom now. If a person was denied and they have a permit, will they be deported? Jeanette is asking. So Jeanette, if a case was denied and you still have a work permit that's connected to that case, the work permit is no longer good, okay? The work permit is no longer good unless you're in a situation like maybe asylum and you still have a pending asylum application, your case transitioned from USCIS asylum case to immigration court. In that case, you will have that continuity, but most everyone else, they literally lose that work permit once the case is denied. I've got to loop back with you guys too. It just dawned on me. That's why I slowed down there a little bit. And I'm asking, we're going to make a note of it. I'm going to loop back with you guys on the fees, the new fees that are part of the One Big Beautiful Bill, the law now, because those fees are in effect, immediate effect. And there are some things on the asylum side, fee-wise and work permit side that I want to clarify for you guys now that this is the law. And so we have some slides that we'll be sharing with you guys on social media. My colleague put together a very nice carousel for you guys, breaking down each fee and who it applies to, those in immigration court versus those who are not in court, those who have a case on appeal. You're facing some significant fee increases that are the law today. So I might I don't know if I could do a video on it. I don't know. The time is hard these days, really, really hard. But we certainly have a carousel. So guys, be sure to follow me on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook so that you will, and LinkedIn so that you'll get those carousel slides that we're going to share maybe by the end of today or by tomorrow. Okay. Let's see. See if I could take another question. Let's see. Someone is asking if we could share a sad story. I would prefer, you know what, let's keep it uplifting. I don't know what your sad story is, but I really want to encourage people that the process is still working. So I'm asking only for good news stories that we could share. Okay. Okay, let's go down a little bit. Can an overstay green card holder be considered criminal records? Can an overstay green card holder be considered a criminal? Maybe that's what you're saying. I don't see you as a criminal. I see you as a lawful permanent resident and hopefully a U.S. citizen soon. I do not see you as a criminal. I'm not sure what that question's all about. Thank you, Gigi and Maya. Thank you for being here. How much? Oh, thank you for asking an easy question, Casmine. How much is your consultation? So currently it's $250 for an attorney here at McBean Law and $300 for me. I believe my weekend rate is a little higher now because, God, guys, it's weekends, Saturdays. So that should be out there. I think that's $350 for a weekend now. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So with that being said, guys, let's talk about some of your good news. All right, so Marilyn says, my two nephews got their 2 years green card last week by marriage. That's awesome. Congratulations. Khalid says, pending asylum, I got my green card through marriage. No interview last month. Guys, this is still, the process works. This is great news. Hebora says, got my citizenship in 2 months. Thank you for your encouragement. Oath ceremony, Saturday, the 11th. God bless you. Great. Then Fernandez says, I got our I-130 approved, LPR petitioning for same-sex spouse, 37 months. It took 37 months, guys, but it works. Then Indira says, my friend overstayed her visa, married to a U.S. citizen, went last week for her green card interview, and she was approved. I think that's the last one. Oh, there's one more. Got approved for a 2-year green card today. That was June 8th. Thank you for sharing that, Cherie Otarik. All right, perfect. Good news. I'm getting better at flipping through, by the way, if you guys didn't notice that. We're ending now. Thank you guys so much for being with me today. This has been fun. We covered a lot. I have a very busy week. We did experience a death in my family, by the way, last week. And so my schedule is different all over the place. So thank you guys for bearing with me. But I'm trying to get back into the swing of things to give you the information that you need, but it's a little slower. You guys can understand that. So thank you so much for being with me today, guys. And again, be sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn so that you'll be plugged in on everything. Thanks again. Reach out to us at 914-898-9488 or at info@mcbeanlaw.com, where we're here for you. Book your consultation. Guys, thanks so much. Stay tuned to this channel for new videos this week. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.